Okay, Davy, I'm missing your fonts, and that's why it's important to control click or right click on a Windows machine and create outlines so that you create just shapes out of your fonts. Of course, do that as a last step because once you do that, you can't edit your fonts anymore. So with this, I would say instead of trying to draw a circle, let's use the underneath the rectangle tool. So let's go to Window, Workspace, Essentials Classic, make sure we're on the same page here. Your design workspace, you know, if you need to pop out your toolbar, you can do that. Let's go to the rectangle tool, click and hold down, and we can actually go to the ellipse tool. Let's push shift on our keyboard, and let's drag out two different, and we can always resize this one. I didn't make it quite big enough to begin with, so I'll just resize it. So two different ellipses or perfect circles. If you hold shift down on your keyboard while you're using the ellipse tool, you can get a perfect circle. And if you click and drag over both of these, you can align these through the center, horizontal center and the vertical center in the properties panel using the alignment. If you don't have your properties panel open, go to Window, Properties, and make sure this is checked. And let's take the fill color out of this in the properties panel. Let's click on that and let's just apply none there. And let's actually, well, actually no, let's make the fill color black on both of these, and let's take the stroke off completely by going with none. So you just click on these to change those. And let's use the shape builder tool with both of these things selected. You know, if I click and drag over them again with the black arrow tool, here's the shape builder tool. We use this in the Illustrator demo, but if we push Option, or I believe, what's Option on a Windows machine? Alt on your keyboard, if you have a Windows machine, and click on this, it'll subtract it. You get that little subtraction sign next to the cursor, and you can subtract out that shape. So now we just have a ring. See how you had a ring there. So now we have that ring for your logo, and we can actually click and hold down. We can use the rectangle tool and drag out a rectangle and push Option on your keyboard, holding down the whole time. Now click down and drag out another one. And I would say push shift on your keyboard to get both selected, and let's use the alignment, and let's align just the top edges of those to one another, and try and get them centered as best you can using your arrows on your keyboard, so that they're kind of centered over the top of that ring shape. That looks pretty good. And you can even conjoin these with this using the shape builder tool. You just need to click and hold and drag through and almost like draw a line. If I zoom in, you can kind of see that there is a little line that's drawn there, and you just draw it through the shapes that you want to bring together. But you have to have them selected with the black arrow tool, so they have to be selected, and then you can use the shape builder to create things. So that is kind of the shape that you were looking for, and then I would just put the DW in here and then spell out your name underneath. So, you know, DW, I would use a different font. I wouldn't use the default Myriad Pro. I would use something, you know, you could actually use maybe kind of a scripty font. If you need to find more fonts, you can go find more. And this will connect you to the Adobe Creative Cloud Adobe Fonts, which is online. And you can go to Filters, you can go to Script Fonts if you just want to find a good script font. Elderly Pro is kind of nice. If you want to activate these fonts, you just push the Activate button over here. So this Elderly Pro is pretty good. You click on that, and you might have to click on it a couple times to make it work. But you know, once you get your font, you know, the size and the shapes that you want. This D is not super legible, which is not great, but so I wouldn't necessarily go with this font, but just for the purpose of this, I will keep it the same. But if you control click or right click on this, you can do create outlines, and we'll outline that, and then you know, maybe like your first and last name can go here. And I'm just going to change this font to something that I have, probably something bold and not scripty. I'm just going to go back, clear this, and actually I'm going to go back to my regular font list and maybe just find something kind of bold. This Roadstore is kind of nice and bold, and I can use the free transform tool. Click on that, push shift, and drag from the corners. And so, yeah, maybe something like that, something bolder, but is a good contrast with possibly a scripty type font. And then, you know, obviously once you get it looking the way you want it to, then you do create outlines so that you make it a shape. You can see the anchor points on it if I get on it with the white arrow tool, so that people won't be missing your fonts like I was here. So this is how I would execute your logo design. And that's about all I have to say. Talk to you later.